Hey YouTubers, if you live in Florida and you don't have very much sunlight, here's a few plants you might want to grow on your balcony. Start off with, this is a Cranberry Hibiscus. I grew from seed and transplanted in a pot, and it gets rather tall, and I cut off a piece and planted it, a little cutting, and it's growing fine. I was hoping this would get some flowers on it. You can eat the leaves and the flowers. The leaves have a little bit of a kind of a bitter, sour, lemony taste to it, but I wouldn't make a diet out of it, but it's a very simple, easy plant to grow and propagate. Like I said, I grew from seed, but it's much easier to grow from cuttings. I'm going to cut this off and transplant it in either in here or into another pot. And I like it because it has a different color than the rest of the plants. You know, everything else is green. This is kind of a nice different color. This is parsley. It's almost bonsai parsley. It doesn't grow very fast because of the low amount of sunlight. I was using this as something to grow at a low level because I had in the pot 3 Moringa trees, and they got very tall and they looked very nice in the balcony. Moringa is super easy to grow. In fact, after I cut the Moringa tree off at the soil, it keeps growing back. Here's a Moringa. So if you want something to grow on your balcony, but you're going to have to cut back eventually, is a Moringa. I don't particularly care for the taste of it, but you can eat it too. Obviously, you can eat the Italian parsley. It makes a nice plant, but this is a very old plant. It doesn't grow very fast. Over here is some plants I've grown repeatedly. It's the Malabar spinach. The deal with this is I was going to transplant this last summer in areas around here near the canal banks so I could have a fresh supply of leaves, because this will take over the balcony even though it only has 2 hours of sunlight a day. But I found out they spray the banks with herbicides and they mow it, so they would have destroyed or made the plant something that I couldn't eat. So I never did transplant them, and I didn't want them to continue growing, so I've treated them very harshly. Haven't watered them properly. They've gotten very little sun. They've continued to thrive, or at least continued to grow. And here's the little seeds I can transplant. I think I'll transplant these this late spring so I can have fresh uh, Malabar spinach leaves. The leaves are like mucilaginous. They're like okra, but I put them on sandwiches, and they're like lettuce in a way. I like them. I did a video on them. Supposedly they have levels of testosterone in them, or they raise your testosterone. It's an interesting plant, but it thrives in heat when no other plants will, and you can see that I've practically tried to kill it, and it still keeps growing. Over here we have a Chaya plant. I grew this from a cutting I got on eBay, and it's a little number 10 pot with just a tiny bit of soil, and it continues to grow. And I can't think of any other plant that wouldn't have been root bound by now. It's a very simple plant that thrives very well. And you could eat these leaves if you boil them for 10 to 15 minutes and don't cook them in aluminum pots. You have to throw out the water. But it's pretty nutritious. People eat it frequently in Central America. Down here we have a plant that almost got killed by the winter, but it came back. It's a purple passion fruit. These will grow for like over 7 or 8 years, and it was doing very well, but this winter the cold weather kind of hurt it kind of bad. This is my dwarf papaya. It won't get much taller than this. However, I don't know if it's male or female, so I think you need 2 plants, male and female, in order for you to get the fruit. So that's a very simple plant. Other simple plants I've grown out here have been the sweet potato and tomato, although it was difficult because they wouldn't fruit because I didn't have any insects, and I tried getting a paintbrush and pollinating it myself. It still didn't work. Also, I had lemongrass that grew very well, and turmeric and ginger grew like crazy, very little sunlight. So those are some plants. Well, these are the Biden's Alba, the Spanish needle I'm going to be growing, because those will grow in cracks of your sidewalk. And you can eat the leaves of them also, like greens. Those are a lettuce, but they probably won't amount to much. It was an experiment to see if I could grow them in a small amount of soil. So that's some different plants you can grow in Florida that don't require hardly any care and have hardly any pests and have very low light requirements, although they will grow kind of slow, and as parsley does. So I thought that might be helpful to you. if you're thinking about what different things to grow on your balcony here in Florida. All right, take care. See you out there.